Welcome back to the subject Object-Oriented Analysis and Design, and today's topics are UML Case Tools. So before going to discuss about the various types of case tools, let us understand the stages of software development lifecycle model. So in the software development lifecycle model, the first stage is an analysis. At the time of analysis, as we come across the various topics, what exactly the analyst will do the analysis in collecting the various requirements. So based on that requirements, the next stage is a design stage. So this plays a key role in how to develop the designs and how to choose various tools in developing the designs that depend upon the type of the problem statement where the analyst was done the analysis at the time of doing the analysis stage. So based on that problem statement, a tool is going to be selected and then the analyst should start developing the models. And there are two types of models. One is a structural and another one is a behavioral. So depend upon the problem statement, the analyst should choose a tool whether the problem statement is related to the behavior or it is depend upon the structural. So depend upon that, we can come across the various types of software tools that are existed. The first one is a star UML. So this is one of the legacy tool which is used in designing. Before that, there is one more tool which is called as a rational rows. Due to some drawbacks to overcome that rational rows, the next version of that the designing tool is a star UML. So this is one of the unified modeling language tool which is used to create meaningful object-oriented models for a software applications. So as we said, this tool is helpful in designing the models in developing the softwares, and this is going to be is an open source software tool. So as we know that some tools comes under the commercial and some comes free in open source. Like this is one of the tool which is an open source tool, free and open source tool, and it is provided by MK Labs. This comes up with a level of different types of modeling diagrams. It also supports for UML 2.0 specific diagrams. So depend upon the types of diagrams, we need to choose the tools. So this tool is also one of the open source tools where we can use for designing. Now coming to the features, it lets you to create the objects, use cases, deployment diagram, sequence diagram, collaboration diagram, activity diagram and profile diagram. So these are the various types of diagrams which are supported to build in with the help of this tool. So before going to do these diagrams, we should be very familiar that an analyst is going to do the analysis of a problem based on the forward engineering or reverse engineering. So that makes so much of sense in developing these diagrams. So when the problem statement is coming from the top-down approach, that is a forward engineering, there's a lot of things in designing all these diagrams. But when you talk about the reverse engineering, already a project which is done by someone or is a legacy software or already a piece of code which is going to be enhanced, in those cases already a predefined models will be existed. So to change such kind of models, we require a different kind of tool. So here this is one of the best tool for supporting a forward engineering software. Like if you are coming from top-down approach where the analyst is doing for the first time all the diagrams, so then this is a tool is preferable. So it is an UML 2.x standard compilement offering multiple supports Microsoft Windows and Linux. So almost these three operating systems are supporting to install this particular tool, and this is an icon that we can see for installing this star UML. So here I provided the download link. From here you can download and install the tool. Coming to the second tool, Umbrello. So this is one of the best tool which I can say, where this tool is support for almost all the object-oriented analysis programming languages or OAD programming, that is a C++ and Java. So here in this tool there is a flexibility of once we develop the designs, the design can be converted into the code. At the same time, if you are going to input a code, based on the code, it will convert the diagrams. So that is very flexible in converting the design to the code and code to the development, the code to the diagram. So this is one of the tool which can perform both the behavioral diagrams, like it can support for structural as well as for the behavioral diagrams. Whereas the first one, which is helpful to only used to develop the structural diagrams. But this tool is useful to both structural and behavioral as well as to convert the diagram to the code as well as the code to the diagram. And imports the C++ can be export up to the wide range of the languages. So whatever the object-oriented languages can be supported with the help of this tool. And here is a link which you can install this tool and we can use it for developing the designs. Coming to the third tool, that is a designer tool. So this is one more tool we can say which is helpful to modify, and version of this is UML 2.5 modeling, creates all the UML diagrams. So it will also support for both the structural and behavioral diagrams. And coming to this, the features are transparent to work on DSL as well as for the UML models. So this is an UML designer tool, can reuse and provide the presentations. So every time we can reuse and you can do the modification flexible for the designs, and implements the component, class and composite structural diagrams. So especially this is implemented for developing the component, class diagrams and composite structural diagrams. To start working with this DSL, you can use a UML legacy models. So you can also use the old models which are already existed. So this means it's an supportful for the reverse engineering. So in case of reverse engineering, already some models are existed. Based on that, we can go for remodifying the designs. So this tool is especially useful for the forward reverse engineering. So this is one of the logo you can see, and this is a link where you can install and use it for designings. The next tool is a Altova. So this is also one of the tool which is used to develop the software models, and it supports for the 14 UML2 diagrams as well as for the SysML for the embedded systems. So especially this kind of tool is useful for designing for embedded systems. So you should be very familiar with what is the type of product, whether it is an multiprocessor or it is a microcontroller processor or it is an embedded processor, or what kind of machine it is and what kind of product software that you are building for. Based on that, we have to perform the designs. So this is especially used for the embedded systems, and the code which is going to be generated with this or supported with this is Java, C++, C#, or Visual Basics, and as well for the .NET. So all these are the programming language which is support to design. Now coming to the features, provides which is an automated undo redo which inspires to discover new ideas. So here oftenly we can do all the manipulations in designing, very flexible in developing the diagrams, easy, and had the hyperlink to any element. So this is one of the tool which will support, you can import your designs to open source, whereas the previous tools, whatever the diagrams you are going to design, you can't import that to the open source or you can't download that particular diagrams. So this tool is very flexible. Once the design is completed, we can import to the open source. So provides an color coding, icons, customize. So this is very helpful in doing all the animated things, and we can make it very beautiful to understand what is the difference between each and every element in your diagram. So this is a link here, we can install this particular tool for the designing. The next one is a UML. UML is a one more tool which is used to in the object-oriented analysis, and this is useful for actually support state diagrams and class diagrams. So this particular tool is supporting for the state diagram and class diagram. These are the adapts of the Java, C++ and PHP. So if you see here, PHP is one of the databases related, C++ and Java is an object oriented. So we can find the difference between one tool to another tool, where some tools are supporting for only object oriented programming languages, some tools are supporting for the databases, some tools are supporting for the open source. So depend upon the requirement, the analyst should prefer any one of the tools for the designing. So it includes the singleton patterns, keys, and whatever the object oriented code injects. So this model is understand to be useful. Thus this is also very useful in converting the design to the code and code to the design. So here you can find the link, and this is an icon where you can install the particular tool. So these are the various types of tools which are helpful in designing the models at the time of stage of designs. So as we know that while you are going to start designing, initially the analyst should be very clear that what kind of problem statement it is, whether the problem that the project is in forward engineering or it is in reverse engineering. Depend upon that, at the stage of designing or at the stage of models, they need to prefer any one of the tool, so that are very flexible in building the diagrams, and that is also very flexible in converting the diagram to the code or from the code to the designs. At the same time, some tools are very flexible in importing the designs to the open source. So hope this is very useful in understanding the tools for designing. Thank you.